I know. It has been a long time since I've done this. It has been a long time since I've picked up my camera. It's probably close to 3 months, really. I'm not gonna lie, I just haven't been motivated to go out. It's summertime, it's hot and muggy and humid. I spent 3 weeks in Dallas, hot and terrible. 3 weeks in Houston, hot and really terrible. Now I'm in Washington D.C. Hot-ish, a little bit terrible. But I've come back to a spot I've been to before. This is Rock Creek Park in Washington D.C. and it's a gorgeous park in the middle of a downtown. And I love it. So I forced myself to get out today, try to get a couple of pictures. There's a beautiful creek that runs through here, runs over a whole lot of rocks. And you know, water over rocks is my favorite thing. But I've purposely diverted up and away from the creek to head into the woods a little bit more today and try to find something a little different. I will be going back to the creek and getting some water over rocks because I can't resist it. But I figured I'd start differently today. Look for some trees, leaves, bark pattern, something other than water over rocks because there's a lot of trees here. So getting a nice afternoon hike and maybe some good pictures this afternoon. So that's what we're doing. Gonna hike along the trail here, see what we can find, and have ourselves a nice afternoon. Okay, here we are. And I think we've got our first shot of the day. I've stumbled across this great little patch of moss that's leading up to this tree right in front of me. And at the bottom of this tree, there's this tiny little hole that looks like there's a woodland creature in there, living in there. I like to pretend there's a gnome living in this tree, and this little gnome mansion with his palatial, lush moss yard out in front of him. But because I'm so close and so low on this shot, this is going to be a focus stack, 3 images, one very close to the foreground here, one about midway up in the frame, another one on the tree itself. And that's just going to allow me to be in focus, front to back on this frame, and all the way up to the tree. Then I'm going to take a 4th exposure for the sky behind this tree. And that's just a safety shot that I may or may not use. Just because the sun is coming directly at me. So the sky is really blown out in this exposure, which may work and it may not, but just take the safety shot for that sky. Really darkens up the greens and everything behind it. So that might make for an interesting contrast once we put this thing, stitch it all together in post-processing. But it's a fun little shot. A little gnome mansion in the woods. A little something different for me to shoot. Something really, hopefully, really pretty. Right. Now we pack it up and keep exploring these woods. All right, so the shot's really simple, really pretty, and that's kind of what I'm finding out here in the woods. The shots are really simple. It's about details, and a lot of it is just waiting for the light to be correct. This was a dead tree that's fallen in front of another tree, and this gorgeous gnarly old branch just shooting diagonally through my frame with the tree as the background. Just wait for the light to be right and take the shot. Not much to it. It's just waiting for the conditions to be right and finding the details that make it interesting. So we're just shooting this at an ISO 100, f4 at about 1/5 of a second. 2-second timer just to kind of reduce that camera shake. Polarizer's sort of helping to pop the colors a little bit, but we just wait for the light to be right on this fallen branch, and then we've got our shot. So I've scrambled my way out onto a rock in the middle of the creek. So that's pretty great. I got this really fun little scene in front of me. The creek's coming towards me and just getting scattered by all of these rocks and boulders in the middle. All these rocks in the middle of the creek. Hence, Rock Creek. Clever! But the shot's pretty simple. I'm doing a focus stack on it because I'm sitting on top of this rock. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm sitting on top of a rock, shooting down. You can see it here. It's my setup. Camera. Shooting down, this rock's in the foreground. All of this stuff is in the background. So the water's kind of trickling down diagonally across the frame, which you can see right here, rock in the foreground. So again, another focus stack, focusing on this rock right in front of me so that it's sharp, and then focusing on the rocks in the background and getting the water. So pretty simple, straightforward, shooting with a polarizer just to take the glare off the water, and a 3-stop neutral density filter to slow down the shutter speed for the water, and shooting at an ISO 50 f9. So on the rock, the exposure for the rock, we're getting about half a second, which doesn't matter, the rock's not moving, we don't care about that. And then focusing on the falls behind, rocks in the background, and then that exposure is again about half a second. So my light has evened out. Very nice. So I got about half a second total for the exposure, just blending these two focuses, rock in the foreground, falls in the background, and it's just a nice diagonal flow of the water going across. Happy with my day. Shaking the rust off, trying to get back into shape, remember how my camera works, remember how to record videos while I do it. It's all a lot in the brain, but it's all a lot of fun, so glad to be back, and I'm glad you came with me. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, tell your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers. The more the merrier. But as always, I'd like to thank you for coming along with me. And from Rock Creek Park, here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. So long, and we'll see you next time.